hired lawyers to sue Elon Musk and force him to complete a $44 billion takeover. The Tesla boss dropped plans for the deal on Friday. He says the social network has failed to provide information about fake accounts on its platform. In response, Twitter chairman Brett Taylor has vowed a legal fight. The firm has hired Wachtel, Lipton, Rosen and Katz to lead the effort. The same lawyers advised Musk back in 2018 when he tweeted that he had funding to take Tesla private. He never proceeded with such an offer and was sued for defrauding investors. Musk and Tesla were both fined $20 million. Now, sources say Twitter will file a lawsuit against Musk in Delaware as early as this week. Legal experts say the odds are in Twitter's favor, with courts in the state setting a high bar for allowing firms to abandon deals. In such circumstances, companies often renegotiate the deal or agree compensation to avoid a long legal battle. There was no immediate comment on the latest reports from either Twitter or the law firm. Shares in the social network tumbled around 9% in the first moments of US pre-market trade on Monday.
Hello everyone, this is Kidder Dix. Welcome to Viral as we talk about entrepreneur and political figure, and public figure you want to call Elon Musk, the head of Tesla. Yes, Elon Musk and space organizations. Elon Musk was on the verge of buying Twitter. And next thing you know, Elon Musk decides he want to pull out of Twitter. And we'll get to that story later in the coming minutes. But first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag ViralHimConnect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing here on Viral. As we talk about Elon Musk, the head of Tesla, he decided he wanted to buy Twitter. Next thing you know, Twitter is a social media giant with tweets, impressions, reactions, you name it. Twitter is that. Twitter can help alleviate your platform to another level. Just ask me, hey, with Connect TV, we got people like John Cena following us, of all people, and we're grateful for that. And other political figures, but John Cena's the biggest one. But like I said, Elon Musk wanted that influence. Elon Musk thought he can change free speech with Twitter, but Twitter decided far before Elon Musk decided about Twitter. Twitter was one to lead the charge and not try to show negative messages or negative political speeches, rhetoric, whatever you want to call it. They even got rid of Donald Trump and put him out of Twitter for just saying crazy stuff. Well, Elon Musk wanted to reverse that, and he thought him being the head of Twitter, he was going to change that environment to his way of thinking. Well, Elon Musk had got a big slap in the forearm by Silicon Valley and Twitter, as Twitter had not become Elon Musk's liking. Well, Elon Musk decided that he wants to pull out of Twitter, and let's get the big story. Let's get what had transpired when Elon Musk pulled out of Twitter.
Elon Musk mocked Twitter's threat to sue him on its own platform on Monday after the world's richest person moved to abandon his $44 billion takeover deal, sending the social media company's shares reeling in early trading. Just after midnight Eastern Standard Time, Musk posted a meme depicting him laughing progressively harder, saying, quote, "They said I couldn't buy Twitter. Then they wouldn't disclose bot info. Now they want to force me to buy Twitter in court. Now they have to disclose bot info in court." The Tesla CEO said he intended to terminate the deal late Friday, claiming Twitter had failed to provide information about fake accounts on the platform and had breached provisions of the merger agreement. People familiar with the matter told Reuters that Twitter is planning to sue Musk as early as this week to force him to complete the takeover. One analyst from Jefferies told Reuters that his firm believes that, quote, "Musk's intentions to terminate the merger are more based on the recent market sell-off than Twitter's failure to comply with his requests." Legal experts say Twitter has a strong case against Musk, but could opt for a renegotiation or settlement instead of a long court fight. The tweets from Musk on Monday, which also included an image of Chuck Norris playing chess, amounted to the billionaire's first public response since announcing his intention to ditch the Twitter deal. Twitter shares were down sharply on Monday, trading between $33 and $34 a share, more than a third off the price of Musk's per-share offer.
Elon Musk pulls out Twitter for his own very purposes. Elon Musk decides that Twitter is not for him. And I told you a little bit about the history of him wanting to engage with Twitter, and it just didn't plan out for him. It just didn't work out the way he wanted to work out. Well, we know Elon Musk is that hell-bent on doing what he wants to do. Well, let's hear what you people had to say. You people had to say about Elon Musk wanting to pull out of Twitter. Let's look back on what the people say.
I want to see what he's saying is when you get on, you and I are protected when Starbucks has a coffee bean. You and I are protected when a McDonald's has a Burger King. You and I are protected when a 24-hour fitness has an LA Fitness. You and I are protected when a CNN has a Fox. You and I are not protected because there is zero competitors on social media, virtual governments on the opposite side. None. Every one of them is one side. And all the other ones that are on the opposite side, they're very, very small. So in this case, yeah, I do want him to buy Twitter. Yeah, I'd like to see other people also buy other platforms. I'd love to see a conservative buy New York Times. I'd love to see fiscally conservative capitalists buy Fortune magazine. I'd like to see some of those things happening. But yeah, so I would like to see this guy win because I want to see 50-50. That's how I get clear to the truth, because I want to see debate.
Out of the Twitter deal. If you remember a few months ago, I made a video on the deal and I actually bet money that he would try to back out. Well, it seems like his lawyers today sent a letter to Twitter. Elon basically said that Twitter hasn't given him enough data to review the bot problem, and they had previously called his last bluff where they gave him access to the fire hose. And the fire hose is basically Twitter's feature which just sends out every single tweet that gets made to whichever server they request. But that wasn't enough. And the reason why that isn't enough is because nothing is enough. He wants out of the deal. And the reason I believe behind this is financing. While Elon's net worth is extremely high, he doesn't actually have cash. Most of his money is tied up in Tesla stock, so the only way he can actually buy Twitter without selling his Tesla shares is by taking out a margin loan. But the problem with margin loans is they have low loan-to-value ratio. A loan-to-value ratio basically says how much money they will give you for the assets that you pledge. Now, Elon's ratio is 20%, which means for every dollar that he borrows to buy Twitter, he has to pledge 5 of his stock. And given that Twitter is $44 billion, that would mean pledging his entire net worth. And then if Tesla stock were to drop, he would probably get margin called, and it would be the biggest individual margin call in the history of anything. Now, the other option is to take on investors. Now, typically you would take on investors to take a company public, but Elon is doing the opposite because he wants to take Twitter private. But right now the market isn't so good. Twitter was never really that profitable. The stock market is crashing because of federal fundraise, and there is no clause in the deal which says he can get out if he fails to find financing. He's still liable for the $1 billion breakup fee, so the only way he actually gets out of that fee is if he shifts the blame onto Twitter and comes up with some reason why it was them who violated the deal, which is what he's now trying to do. Now, most likely it's not going to fly. He's basically just grasping at straws right now, and most likely Twitter will win. They will get the $1 billion fee, and they may actually even be able to force the deal. So Elon Musk has officially...
Elon Musk will no longer be buying Twitter. So Elon Musk has canceled his Twitter bio after claiming that they weren't honest about how many bots are on the site. Well, Twitter is not happy about this, and now they're planning to sue Elon. Basically, Twitter says that they're going to pursue legal action to enforce the merger agreement. Now, if you remember when him and Twitter first signed the deal, they both agreed to pay a $1 billion termination fee. The way this works is whoever backed out would have to pay the fee. But I guess we'll see if this holds up in court. Elon Musk will no longer be buying Twitter. So Elon Musk has canceled.
Elon Musk is no longer going to be the owner of Twitter. Just today he sent a letter to the SEC notifying them that he's terminating the $44 billion deal, and said the reason was that Twitter had not complied with its contractual obligations. Now, one of these obligations that Elon is referencing was that for Twitter to give Elon enough data proving that their fake accounts made up less than 5% of their overall active accounts. Twitter, however, says that it now plans to pursue legal action to enforce the agreement. And it's not like just wanting to cancel your hotel reservation, because Elon now faces a $1 billion breakup fee and a possible lawsuit just for opting out. Elon Musk is no longer... This is breaking news. Regulatory filings with the SEC show that Elon Musk has terminated his $44 billion deal to acquire Twitter, setting the stage for massive lawsuits. You heard that right. Elon Musk's attorney sent a letter to Twitter saying that Elon is terminating their merger agreement. On April 25th, 2022, Elon Musk announced that he was going to acquire Twitter for $54.20 a share because Elon thought the number 420 was funny. Elon thought he was being a troll, but looks like he just ended up trolling himself. In connection with the transaction, Elon waived the right to conduct a thorough due diligence of the company and agreed to a $1 billion termination fee if he pulled out of the transaction. Elon has already also been investigated by the SEC for not disclosing his substantial beneficial ownership in Twitter on time. Now, after agreeing to the merger, Tesla shares plummeted about 20% since Musk was using Tesla as leverage to make the purchase of Twitter, and while Tesla car company shareholders wanted him to focus on, cars, instead of using the company to comfort his fragile ego. Before finally announcing that the Twitter deal is off today, for the past few weeks, Elon was making excuse after excuse and blaming Twitter for why he couldn't get the deal done. For example, he blamed Twitter for not accurately reporting bot accounts and not providing him with enough information. Well, as I previously mentioned, Elon waived due diligence and didn't have the right to this information. Also, the information relating to the bots was already part of a public lawsuit that Twitter settled. And previously, Elon announced that the whole reason he wanted to acquire Twitter was because of the bot problem. So to complain about the bots that he wanted to fix, it's just completely disingenuous. Nonetheless, Twitter gave Elon its complete fire hose of data to go through, even though they weren't required to by their merger deal, but just to call Elon's bluff. And boy, did they call his bluff. Elon then complained the fire hose data couldn't be verified. And that brings us to today. Elon has called off the deal. One chapter ends, and another chapter, undoubtedly, of lawsuits begins. Twitter will sue Elon, Elon will sue Twitter, shareholders will sue both. And the real victim here is the shareholders, real investors, pension funds, real people whose finances have been harmed by Elon's fragile ego and his interference with the market to feel important and like a tough guy. Now I'll leave you with this. Giving tax breaks and government benefits to people like Elon instead of real Americans is absurd. And anyone fighting for the rights of Elon Musk and billionaires instead of workers and the 99% of us should be voted out of office now. This is breaking news. Regulatory filings.
A lot of you people across social media said that having mixed reviews, mixed actions. Some of you supporting Elon Musk's decision to pull out of Twitter because it's a First Amendment right for freedom of speech. And, hey, some of you are happy that Elon Musk are not trying to engage in buying Twitter because it feels like Elon Musk will kind of buy your voice and buy your silence. So, it's hanging in the balance. But, Elon Musk being this grand spokesman, showing hot dog, showing dance and stuff with the Great Depressions, but it just didn't pan out for him. Well, we just have to wait and see what's next for Elon Musk. Will he start his own social platform so he can say what the hell he wants to say on any given basis? Well, we just wait and see on that. Thank you all for watching this edition of Vibes. We talked about Elon Musk, the head of Twitter. Was going to become the head of Twitter, and now he's still the head of Tesla. He pulls away from Twitter because he doesn't want it no more. And we here on Viral say, hey, Elon Musk does not need Twitter, and Twitter does not need him. So we're going to leave that story right there. Thank you all for watching this edition of Viral. I've been your host, Kenny Dick, saying so long, and we'll see you next time for another edition of